This is a video about the different formulae for coordinate geometry and just about how to use them for different questions, how to apply them for different questions. This video is really aimed at Junior Cert Higher Level, and I'll be looking at some questions from there, but there's an overlap as well with Leaving Cert Ordinary Level and a little bit maybe with Leaving Cert Higher Level, but that's probably a little bit further on. I'll just go through these formulae first of all. So this is page 16 of the log tables, and this has all of your, page 18 of your log tables. You see it at the bottom there. So when you open them, you look for page 18, that's all of the formulae you'll need for the coordinate geometry question. The two at the bottom here aren't on Junior High Level, but they do follow a similar enough kind of idea where you're just subbing in, and you'll see them at Leaving Cert. You'll see the triangle one at Leaving Cert Ordinary, and then you'll see both of them if you were going to be doing Leaving Cert Higher Level, but we won't worry about them for this. Therefore, there's a few left then. In the log tables, the Irish is always on the left hand side, the English is on the right hand side, so we're looking down the right hand side unless we speak Irish. The first formula then is slope, so m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's the slope of a line. If I was to take that line there on the graph, and then I was to take the line underneath here, you'd see the second line I've drawn there is less steep than the first line, and that's really what slope is about. Slope is also the rise over the run. So if my line goes up 2 for every 1 it goes across, so if it goes across 1 and up 2, then it would have a slope of rise over run, so 2 over 1, and that's a little bit about what slope means. The next one is the length. Now this is also the very same thing as distance, and I think they probably should call it distance. But what it means is if I take 2 points on a graph, so the first point is minus 3,1, and the second point there was about 5,7. It just calculates how far it is from one point to the other. So the distance between the 2 points, or the length between the 2 points. That's what that formula does for us. The next one is midpoint. Now interestingly, I haven't seen it come up much in the last few years for Junior Cert Higher Level, so maybe it will come up soon, but that will calculate, if I took 2 points on the graph, that will calculate the point that is exactly in the middle. So the point in the middle of those two that I have there is kind of somewhere around there maybe. So that formula will calculate exactly what point is in the middle, or the midpoint, as you would think. The next one then, this one here, there's 2 there for equation of a line. This is probably the one maybe that has come up more in the last few years, but that's where we have to find, or we have to calculate the equation of a line. And to do that, you need the slope, which is the m bit, and sometimes you may need to use the slope formula first with 2 points before you use that formula. And you also need 1 point, the x1, y1. So I always say when we're starting off with this, you're subbing into those 3 things. You're subbing into the m and into the x1 and y1. You don't sub into the x or to the y. You don't put things in instead of that. So it's the x1, y1 and the m. So you need the m, and you need a point on the line to sub into that. That's important. And that is when we use that when we're asked for find the equation of a line, or find the equation of, so you see it down below. This here isn't a formula really that we sub into. That's more used for if I have something like the line 2x minus 3y is equal to 11, something like that, and I want to know what's the slope of this line, and what's the c bit is the y-intercept. So I have to put it in that form, So I need to move everything across the equal sign, so I just have a y on the left hand side. So if I was doing this one, it's minus 3y, I'd bring over the 2x, so it's minus 2x plus 11. And then I'll divide by the minus 3, so y is equal to, it would be 2 over 3 x plus 11 over, well, minus 3. So it should be minus 11 over 3 there. So my slope then would be the 2 over 3, and my y-intercept would be the minus 11 over 3. That's what that formula is used for. That's a little bit about the formula. I'm going to look at a few exam questions here. This was the 2024 exam question for Junior Cert Higher Level. Now the first bit was just plotting coordinates. You just had to see that A was minus 1, 1, and B is 4, 1. The second part, we don't really have to use any formula either. That's just D is the point, it's central symmetry. We have to use central symmetry with the point B through the point P. So if you look at B there, to get to P, you're kind of going across two boxes. So you do the same then the other side. You just go the same the other side, and that gets you to there. So that's the point D. That's all that is. So that's central symmetry mixed in. Now the next bit, you do need to use a formula. So find AB and find CD. This is where you need to use the distance formula. That means that you're finding the distance from A to B, and then you're finding the distance from C to D, and you're seeing if they're the same. Those two lines down the side of the two letters, that means distance, and that's important. That's something you'll see a little bit more than when you go into Leaving Cert. So that one there, you have to use the distance formula. So it's the x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So we have to use it for the points. So for AB first, so for the points minus 1, 1 and 4, 1. And then, so that's for AB. And then for CD, it's 4, 1. Oh, sorry, I'm after using the wrong. Oh yeah, I listed them wrong first. C should be 5, 4. So then CD will be 5, 4 and 2, 5. Now when we're labeling the points, you always label them x1, y1, x2, y2. Therefore, on the first one into the formula, it look like this. x2, which is 4, take away x1, which is minus 1, so it's minus 1. That gives us a plus. It's a double minus, and we square it, plus, and then 1 minus 1 squared. And then for the other one, it's going to be 2 minus 5 squared plus 5 minus 4 squared, and that would give me, I think it's root 10 there for the first one, for the second one, and this one gives me it'll be 5 in the end. So we get two different answers there. That finishes that question. This also came up in 2024 as a different question. Find the coordinates of the point P. Well, we had to sub in, because it's on the x-axis, everywhere on the x-axis y is equal to 0. Therefore, if I let y be equal to 0 from this, then 0 is equal to 2x plus 5. Bring the 5 across, it becomes minus 5 is equal to 2x. And then bring the 2 over, so minus 5 over 2 is equal to x, so minus 2.5 So minus 2.5, 5 over 2, 0 is the coordinates of P. So we don't need any formula there, but we have to understand what's going on now here. The line N is perpendicular to K. Therefore, find the equation of the line. So equation of the line, straight away I know I'm going to need to use this formula. Y minus y1 is equal to n by x minus x1. And you can write that formula down straight away because you know you're going to need that formula. Now we need the m and we need the x1, y1 to sub into that formula. Now it says that the line n, which is what we want, has a point on it that's 0, 10. There we have our x1, y1, 0, 10 straight away. The big issue here then is that we don't have the m. But it does tell us that n and k are perpendicular, and you need to know another key piece of information here is that two lines when they're perpendicular, that means this, if you take the slope of one, if you flip it upside down and change the sign, that gives you the slope of the other one. Therefore I need to find the slope of the red line there first of all, and I have 2 points that are on that. The point 0, 5 and the point minus 5 over 2, 0. Therefore I can use my slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And remember that's x1, y1, x2, y2. And that would be 5 minus 0 over 0 minus over 2, so plus 5 over 2. So that's 5 over 5 over 2. That will give us 2 in the end if you put all that into the calculator together. Now I've used my formula to work out the slope of the red line there, but it's the blue one that I want, the line N. Therefore the slope of the blue line would be, if I take that 2 and I flip it upside down, so it is 2 over 1, if I flip it upside down it becomes 1 over 2 and change the sign, so minus a half. Minus a half is the slope of that blue line then, the N, which I want. Now I know this is, you might find this hard and complicated, it's not the easiest question at all, but remember you get marks for just putting in these formula, for writing them down, at least subbing in some numbers into them. So in the end then my m is equal to minus 1 over 2, therefore y minus y1, which is 10, is equal to minus 1 over 2 and x minus 0. Therefore if I multiply across by 2 we get 2y minus 20 is equal to minus 1 times x, and if I move the minus x over to the other side I get x plus 2y minus 20 is equal to 0. So you need to know a few bits for that there. You need to understand perpendicular within coordinate geometry means that it'll always be to do with slopes, and you flip the sign, you flip it upside down and change the sign. You need to know the equation of the line formula, how to use it, and you need to use that slope formula as well. This is 2023. First of all, we just have to fill in the coordinates of the points, which is nice enough. A is 1, 1, and B is 6, minus 1. Here then, see these two lines down the side again. So think back up to before there, where you saw them. So here, the two lines down beside the A and the B. That means distance again, or length. And that's all we have to do here. We're using this formula, the x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, and then you have to do it for AB, and then you have to do it for AC. If I do it for AB, so it's 1, 1, and should be 6 minus 1. that's x1, y1, x2, y2, and then if we sub in, it'll be 6 minus 1 squared plus minus 1 minus 1 squared. That gives me 25 plus 4, that's root 29. And then if I do it for AC, it will be 1, 1, and 8, 4. And if I sub it in for that, x1, y1, x2, y2, it will be 8 minus 1 squared plus 4 minus 1 squared. That's 49 plus 9 is 58, root 58. We get different things there. Oh, actually, I've used the wrong coordinates there. I used AC. We're supposed to use BC because that wouldn't make sense. BC 6 minus 1 and 8, 4. x1, y1, x2, y2. 8 minus 6 squared plus 4 minus 1 squared. That should give me the same thing. Yeah, 4 plus 29. Yeah, that should be 29 there as well. Just a mistake. Writing it down. Here we see perpendicular again. When we see perpendicular, generally it'll have something to do with the slopes. Therefore, if I find the slope of AB, so that's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's the formula for slope. And if I'm using AB, it will be minus 1 minus 1 over 6 minus 1. That's minus 2 over 5. And then, now that's for AB. And then for BC, it's well, it'll be 4 minus 1 over 8 minus 6. And then that's 5 over 2. So if you think about it, if you were to take that slope, if you were to flip that upside down into 5 over 2 and change the sign to a plus, you get this 5 over 2, and that shows then that they're perpendicular. So minus the reciprocal, or minus and flip upside down, and that gives it to you. I'll just do 2022 quickly, don't want to make the video too long. The point Q has coordinates 6, 2, write down the coordinates of P. Well, that's just going to be minus 1, 3. That's just writing down the coordinates. Then now the point where the line PQ crosses the y-axis, if it crosses the y-axis, then x is equal to 0. And we just have to let x be equal to 0 in this, so therefore 0 plus 7y is equal to 20, so 7y is equal to 20, and y is equal to 20 over 7, therefore 0, 20 over 7. That comes up a bit there, we saw it up above as well. And then on the coordinate line sign, which is perpendicular, well, it's fine. Write down the equation of this, the equation of the line. Therefore, it's going to be y minus y1 is equal to m by x minus x1 formula again. And now a new road is being built through the point 62. Therefore, we're going to be using this point 62. That will be our x1, y1, and the m is the issue again, but we have perpendicular in here. Now I have the coordinates of the line PQ. Therefore, I'm going to find the slope of the line PQ, and then I'm going to flip it upside down, change the sign because it's perpendicular. The perpendicular slope is what we want. So for 6, 2 and minus 1, 3. So x1, y1, x2, y2. For if I find the slope of that, it would be, so remember the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and that would be 2 minus 3 over 6 minus minus 1. Therefore that's going to be minus 1 over 7. Minus 1 over 7. Then that's the slope of that line PQ up there, but remember it's the perpendicular one we want. Therefore I'm going to flip that upside down into 7 over 1 and change the sign, so it's 7 over 1 or just 7. Remember 7 over 1 is the same thing as 7. Therefore my slope is 7. Therefore y minus 2 is equal to 7 times x minus 6. And it's y minus 2 is equal to 7x minus 32. I have to bring everything to the left hand side. That's the way they want the answer. Minus 7x plus y plus 40. When we bring over the minus 42 and add it is equal to 0. And that's my answer. I'm going to leave it there then. Now there's a fair bit in what I've done there and I've rushed through those questions really, but it just gives you a general idea of what formulae are coming up. So you'll see equation of the line there, distance formula and slope are used a good bit in those questions, and you need to be able to understand what goes in where into each equation. Midpoint didn't really come up at all there, which is interesting, so it probably might come up soon, you'd imagine, but there's no guarantees either way. So there are a few other little bits as well there that can come up when apart from the formula, which you see, understanding that bit with perpendicular lines, that it's minus and change the sign, minus and flip it upside down. Parallel lines have the same slope. That could come up as well. It didn't really come up there the last few years. So if two lines are parallel, that means they have the same slope exactly. And then lines cutting axes. If a line cuts the y-axis and you're looking for that point, then you let x be 0 in the equation, and vice versa. If it cuts the y-axis, you let x be 0, and you solve, so that came up there as well. So you need to go back through the whole topic as a whole, but hopefully that'll help you just understand those formulae a little bit better.